Hello everyone, welcome back to the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Last time we were here, our existing adventurer Lunica Arcadi died ignominiously by being devoured by a wight. So we started over as Alexandra of Blacksand, an adventurer so famous that even orc and goblin guards in the dungeons beneath Firetop Mountain run up to her to ask for an autograph. And we, so far, respond by kicking them into the sewer. So there's that. Right now we're heading into an area of the dungeon that we haven't been into before. When Lunica Arcadi met that student in the robe with scribbles all over it, he sent her to the left towards the School of Sorcery because she was looking for a particular elementalist there. But Alexandra of Blacksand is not looking for that. She's looking for the Eye of the Cyclops. Don't know what that is. There have been some hints that it might be an actual eyeball in the head of a real living Cyclops. But regardless, she has to find that and then take it to the Warlock himself. And I'm assuming that's not going to go as smoothly as it sounds. But because her mission is different, when we met that student again in the previous episode, he sent us to the right instead of to the left. So we're heading into unknown territory here. We've just had to sit down on this bench to regain some stamina. So here it is, recapping our bench rest. So we're not back at full stamina, but we're close to it. So let's move on. Alexandra feels that the Eye of the Cyclops is close. So we have no idea what we're going up against here. You follow the path to the east. Soon enough, you arrive at a broad but cracked stone bridge which leads over a yawning subterranean chasm. On the other side of the bridge, you can see an archway carved to resemble a huge dwarven head. Into the head. No, not yet. With no other options, you start to cross the bridge. No sooner have you taken a few steps than the floor begins to crumble. Of course it does. It's a bridge in a dungeon. You break into a run to avoid the crumbling floor. Test your skill. Now, a skill test, unlike a luck test, shouldn't cost us a point when we do it. And our skill is pretty high. Alexandra's skill is higher than Lunica's was, so odds are in our favour here. So let's chuck our dice. 5. Good, we wanted less than 10, and we aced it. You escape from the crumbling floor. So if we'd failed it, we'd have fallen into the ravine, and that may well have been an instant death. I don't know, because I haven't done it, but it wouldn't surprise me, this being a fighting fantasy. You sigh with relief. You can hear the masonry crashing down far below into water. Okay, so we may have just landed in water and been washed away or something. The sound vibrates around the chamber and you wonder what creatures you've stirred in the darkness beyond. So we can just head on, or we can look over the edge into the darkness. I have to say, being a fighting fantasy book and thus full of unexpected instant death and danger, peering over the edge of a ravine into a darkness where we believe we've stirred up some monsters seems like a bad plan. So let's just keep walking. So we'll head up this bit of rampart here. Okay, there's the carved dwarven head in the wall. I actually probably wouldn't have recognised that as a head if the text hadn't described it. The carved dwarven head archway looms ahead and you marvel at its construction. The previous inhabitants of Firetop Mountain were obviously once proud of their home, as shown in this high level of artistry. The features look to have been chiselled into the rock face in a style that could only be of dwarven design. Alexandra is educated, so she notices stuff like this. Dwarves never cease to amaze me in their skill and artistry. So, we'll hop into the mouth. Here we go, straight through this dwarf's head, into, I guess, the dwarven throat, which is full of other dwarves. Sinister. You enter the dwarven entrance hall. It is everything you expected, lined with tall stone columns that stretch into the darkness, intricately carved in the image of dwarven heroes of old. This reminds me of the entrance to Ostagar in Dragon Age Origins. Warlock of Firetop Mountain, of course, predates Dragon Age Origins by years and years and years, but I don't know whether this scene is from the book or whether it's been added for this game. I don't remember so many dwarven references in the book, so this could be new content. An illustration. Very nice. It looks a bit grim, though. I mean, what the text hasn't described so far is the remains of corpses all over the floor. This stonework is incredible. I can see each beard hair. Sculpting each individual hair is some attention to detail. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Terracotta Warriors, which I saw a couple of years ago. They were very detailed as well. About halfway down the hall, you notice a path that leads off to the left behind one of the statues. That heads in the opposite direction to where I need to be going. Maybe I can have a quick look. So we could snoop down this westward path and see if there's anything there, or keep going the way we're meant to be going. I can't decide whether the game is trying to bait us into going somewhere dangerous, or whether it might actually have some treasure down there. As I remarked a few times in the last episode, the locations of the 3 Zagor keys will be different this time. We've already found one in somewhere that didn't have one before. We found it in the shield room, if memory serves. So maybe it's worth looking down this path to see if we find another Zagor key. Okay, toddle over here, and what do we see? We see some stairs. You reach the ruins of what looks like an ancient bridge spanning the crevasse, long since collapsed. You can just make out the other side of it, on the far side. Where else would the other side be, except on the other side? There is no way you will be able to make it to the other side, so you decide to head back into the Dwarven Halls. So that was just a pointless dead end. Maybe one of the other characters has a skill that enables them to do something there, I'm not sure, but for Alexandra at least it was a pointless diversion. As you walk through the hall, you notice movement out of the corner of your eye. Something appears to be watching you. Oh, of course there's something watching me. It's a dungeon full of beasties. I've no time to chase strange creatures, I must find that eye. So that makes me wonder if a different character would have the opportunity to investigate the creature that's watching us. But because we're supposedly very close to Alexandra's objective, she wants to keep pressing on. You reach a junction with 3 different passageways. With east still at the forefront of your mind, there's only one option you want to take. Okay, so we're really not getting many choices here, which I have mixed feelings about. It's nice that we're not just being thrown into a maze where we have no idea what the right direction is, but on the other hand, I'm generally not a huge fan of taking control away from players, so mixed feelings on that design choice. You continue along the passageway heading east. Soon you come across another junction. Ahead to the east you can see a wooden door. The other passageway continues to the north. Well, Alexandra is obsessed with going east, because that's where the student told her to go. So, here we go. It looks like I'll be opening that wooden door. That looks like a creature. You head east to the wooden door. Trying it, the door opens and you enter a small room. Your eyes widen as you look around to see that the walls of the room are covered in ornate stonework. Mosaics and marble inlays give this room a kind of beauty you have never seen before. In a corner of the room is a large metal statue of a one-eyed creature. In its single eye is a sparkling jewel. So, this will be the Cyclops, and that illustration actually rings a faint bell, so I wonder if this room is something from the original book. This has to be the Eye of the Cyclops. Kith did not give you any advice on how to take the eye. You could perhaps prise it out of its socket with your sword. There's nothing else in the room, and the only exit is the way you came in. Well, since we're here for the Eye of the Cyclops, I don't think we can really justify just leaving, so we're going to have to try and take it. At least it appears to be a statue and not a living Cyclops. You approach the statue cautiously. A scampering behind you makes you flash round. Flash round? Odd phrasing again. But it's only a rat. You feel at the jewel, but it is solidly in place. You try to prise it off, and as you work you hear an ominous creaking noise. Is the statue coming to life? Is it? To your horror, the statue is beginning to move. You jump down and draw your weapon. The iron Cyclops cranes its head round towards you and steps down from its pedestal. There's only one way you're going to get your hands on that ruby, so we're going to have to fight this thing. Drawing your weapon, you ready yourself for battle against this strange creature. Its ruby eye glints in the cave light as the animated statue twists its neck, searching for you. The heavy iron footsteps ring through the cave floor as it approaches, slowly at first, but quickly gaining speed as though getting used to its new body. It raises both hands, flashing its forked tongue, ready to strike. So we've got a combat. It is only against one opponent, which I think does tend to make things a bit easier. The battles we've struggled with the most have been the ones where we've had a lot of enemies to deal with. So although this is a huge and powerful enemy, I mean, look at its skill. It has skill of 10, which is horrendous. It at least won't be outnumbering us, so there's that. So, the Cyclops did wobble, which means it's going to attack. Of course, at this point we have no idea what its attack pattern is. Whether we're actually in range of it here. We just have no idea until we see it actually acting. Of course, the only directions we can move in both move us closer to it. We could move towards it, which potentially puts us more likely to be in range, or we can move sort of down the board here, in which case we're in a direct line ahead of it. It seems like both of those make us more likely to be hit by it, so I feel like the safest option is probably to stand where we are. So in order to do that, we'll need to just attack a random square to pass the turn. Okay, yeah, if we'd moved that way, we'd have been hit. So we do know that it can attack a couple of spaces in a straight line. I didn't notice whether it's going to attack. It wouldn't surprise me if it moves, though. So why don't we throw out a piercing strike straight ahead? Okay, it attacked. This time it's going to move. Now the question is whether it's a sideways scuttling enemy, like the orc with the whip, or whether it might actually move forwards. There's no telling. But in order to attack it, if it sort of went northwards up the board here, sidestepped up that way, we'd have to use our quick jab, which is another ability that has a cooldown. So I feel like bashing out a normal attack here and seeing if it moves this way is probably the less costly option. It did move this way. That's good. So it's going to attack. Based on the pattern it's exhibited so far, it'll be attacking straight ahead of it. We don't know for sure that that's the case, but it seems like the safest option is to get up here alongside it. Yeah. Oh, okay. It has a 3 wide, or possibly 4 wide attack. That's worrying. So where we're standing now, it would hit us with that 4 space wide attack. But that's probably a special ability, so it should have a cooldown, which means we shouldn't be hit by it again so soon, or it shouldn't be able to use it again so soon. But it could well use the one that shoots a couple of spaces ahead. So I feel like getting over here is probably the safe play. Okay, just used a normal attack. Of course, we have no idea what the cooldown is on its attacks. So it's going to be moving this time. My concern with that is if it moves towards us, sort of westward along the board here, then we won't be able to get out of its attack range next time, possibly. So that worries me a bit. But on the other hand, it might make sense to land a hit while we've got the chance, because we're not going to have that many opportunities to attack it without being in its range of attack. You know, I think I'm going to move this way and see if we can get out of this corner. I feel like being in the corner like this limits our movement options. So maybe move out here and then... Oh! I did not know that was a thing. See, previously when an enemy has tried to move into our space, its movement has been blocked, but I guess because this thing is huge, when it walked into us it actually did damage and knocked us back. I had no idea that was a thing. So now we're in a tough position where we're trapped here, purely because the game didn't specify that that was a mechanic. So we've kind of been screwed over by the game itself here, but maybe we can brute force our way out. I'm not sure what Piercing Strike actually does. It has a longer attack range. It only does 2 damage. So let's just use a normal attack. I mean, there's nothing else we can do at this point. Okay, are we going to beat it? It's a straight coin toss. No, it won. and it managed to stun us, which means we can't attack until the next round. It's going in for another attack, so we're just going to be hemorrhaging damage here. We can try to move into its space, but we're blocked. It looks like that actually may have stunned us again. So, once again, not feeling great about the fact that the game itself basically screwed us here by springing something we couldn't possibly have known about. That just feels like sloppy game design. I mean, that's personal preference. It may not bother some people as much as it bothers me, but I don't like it when a game springs something on you that you couldn't possibly have known about or foreseen. Well, there's no point moving, I think, because it would just move... We'd have to move directly into its line of sight there. I mean, there's a good chance that it can hit us here anyway with that 4-wide attack. But maybe our best bet is to attack it and hope that we can win the coin toss on the clash. Okay. Or it could use the other attack. This time, I guess, it's going to do either a normal attack or the 4-width one, so again, our safest bet is probably to go straight at it. Yeah. Hopefully we can win the clash this time. We did! Luckily, for once, we didn't roll like absolute garbage, which we usually do. Now the issue is, it's going to move again. And I would like to get out of this corner here, but if it moves towards us, then it will just stamp over us again and we'll be trapped anyway. Unless it pushes us sort of west. So maybe the safest bet is to try and land a hit while it moves and then try to finish it off next time. Yeah. Okay. So now it's going to attack us again. So if we can win this clash, we'll finish it. Come on, roll well, roll well. 12 is the best possible roll. 12 versus Snake Eyes. Okay, so although we did take several hits which I feel were not deserved because it came from a mechanic we couldn't have known about without experiencing it before, nonetheless we did at least manage to win. And we got 8 souls to put towards unlocking future characters. You've defeated the Iron Cyclops. You sit back and rest from the exhausting battle. Warily you approach the statue. The jewel glints in the light, tempting you. Kith wasn't wrong. The eye is certainly a thing of beauty. So we'll nab the gem. You prize the jewel from the still statue, which is surprisingly heavy in your hand. That wording makes it sound like the statue is heavy in our hand, which it should be because it's enormous and made of metal. You put it in your pack. Now to deliver this lovely ruby to Zagor. I'm still not sure why I need to do this, but I have to trust Kith. Surely yet more fame and glory awaits me. Only bad things can come out of delivering something to Zagor. Ha! I don't believe it, claimed the Eye of the Cyclops as Alexander of Blacksand. What do you do now? So we could examine the statue further, or leave. I mean, this makes me think there might be something worth grabbing from the statue, but on the other hand, it could be a trap. Maybe it comes back to life. Is it worth risking it? Yes. We haven't used any of our lives yet, so let's try. As you examine the statue, you notice that one of its breastplate sections is loose. When you open this, you are surprised to discover that it is empty. Okay. Why are we surprised to discover that it's empty? Were we expecting something to be hidden in its chest? Well, at least you still have the jewel. Maybe that is a possible Zagor key location or something like that. So, we'll head back to the junction. Because that reminds me of the time that Lunica Akadi searched the shield room. And it said, nah, it's all just junk. And it seemed like a weird thing to have us search, only to reveal nothing. But then when we searched that room this time round, it had a Zagor key. So it makes me wonder if, having searched the Cyclops and found a compartment with nothing in it, whether that might be a key location as well. So you can head west back the way we came, or go north. Well, north seems to be generally deeper into the mountain, so let's go that way. Ooh, what's this? You enter another room guarded by stone statues. The dwarves in this room look like... the statues in this room look like fearsome dwarven warriors. My eyes were parsing the whole message there. There are 2 exits from this room. The door to the left sounds rather quiet, while the door on the right seems to have somebody talking behind it. I need to try and reach Zagor quickly. The left door sounds more inviting. Unless the voice behind the right-hand door is Zagor having a chat, but I assume we're not going to find him that quickly. Frankly, having just taken a ton of damage from the Cyclops fight, I'm inclined to agree with Alexandra and head for the apparently unoccupied room. As you approach the left-hand door, there is a rumbling. Both stone statues move and come to life. They lumber away from the wall, clearly intent on stopping the intruder from proceeding any further. So maybe I have no choice in the matter. This could be tough. See, now we're up against 2 enemies, and this is where things start to get hairy, especially in such a confined space. I haven't noticed how big the various arenas for combat are, but I'm sure they're not usually 3x3. That seems excessively tiny. So the stats on these things are skill 9, stamina 7, which is bad, because that means they will take 4 hits a piece to kill. This is going to be tough. This could well do us in. And again, we have no idea what the attack patterns are here. Let's move and hope that that gets us clear of the incoming attacks. Okay. So they sort of do a move attack thing, which is interesting. Now, if they don't move this time, we could probably hit both of them with a piercing strike or quick jab. Oh, crap! I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to work out what the range on it was, and I accidentally attacked them. Well, I guess at least we landed a hit. It looks like these 2 actually just patrol back and forth, though, which is interesting. If that's the case, hopefully we can just finish them off without sustaining too much damage. Huh. Interesting. So the one at the top, in the top corner, didn't move this time, but the other one did. That's curious. Of course, it's possible they might turn off. We have no idea until we see them do it. Let's attack ahead and assume it's going that way. It is. Okay, that wobbled, which means this time it's probably going to attack. So let's move back this way. Okay. It's interesting that it sometimes counts its move as an attack and sometimes doesn't. Like, sometimes it wobbles and then moves, and sometimes it doesn't wobble and then move. So I don't know if it's the wobble movements do damage and the non-wobbling ones don't? Unclear. Piercing strike covers the 2 spaces ahead, so we should be able to land a hit here. Okay, and it's going to move this direction, I think, so we'll just throw out a normal attack. And finish it off. Okay. Now, that other one seems to be stuck just facing into the corner, so I guess we move up there and just keep pummeling it? Oh, interesting. It came to life as we approached. So maybe they go dormant when we're a distance away from them. That's kind of curious. Hopefully we can finish this off now. There we go. So that actually turned out to be an easy fight, because they weren't acting intelligently. They were just patrolling back and forth in relatively fixed routes by the looks of it. So we just polished off those golems, and now we can head out through this door, which was quiet. The stone golems are now nothing more than a pile of rubble. You step over the remains and open the door to the next room. You're greeted by an eerie sight indeed. It is a corridor lined with many stone hands. Ugh, wall masters. They all seem to be reaching from the walls, but they remain completely motionless. You have an unpleasant feeling that these carvings are there for more than just decoration, especially judging by the previous traps you have encountered. Hopefully they're not actually wall masters. If you played Zeldas, then you probably know what wall masters are. They appear in a lot of the Zelda games, and they're these hands that come out of the walls and ceilings, and they grab you and deposit you back at the entrance to the dungeon. We definitely don't want that to happen. I'd be surprised if that's what happens here, but wall masters are my immediate thought. These hands look quite ominous. Perhaps I need to use an object here. There appears to be a message carved in dwarven runes on the stone floor. Well, apparently we need a rune stone in order to be able to do whatever we're meant to do here, but we don't have one, so our only option is to walk forward. It's a little surprising that we can't read the runes, since Alexandra is educated and has been able to read dwarven stuff before, but so be it. Cautiously, you begin to step through the hallway. Nothing seems to have happened. You relax and continue on through the corridor. Once you're about halfway through the corridor, the stone hands begin to stir. Suddenly, they spring to life. Some of them detach from the wall and skitter unnaturally towards you like great stone spiders. One leaps at you and you manage to dodge it, sending it crashing into the wall. However, this does not faze the hand, and it rushes immediately back at you. It looks like the only way you'll be able to get through them is to fight them. So, we're basically having 3 combats almost back-to-back here, which is a rough draw. And here we're up against 3 enemies, which is bad news. They only take 2 hits each to kill, and their skill is 5, so we should win most clashes against them. But the more enemies there are, the harder it is to maneuver into a position where you're not going to take hits from one or another of them, so this does concern me. I don't really know what the best option is here, but we can't reach the one that's due west of us right now. Our attacks don't go that far. So maybe we move south so that we're in a position to attack that one next time. Okay, so what we learned from that first round is that the hands can attack 2 spaces ahead of them, because one of them did that. So that's something to watch out for. Right now, let's... shall we piercing strike or quick jab? Let's piercing strike. Okay, 2 damage. And this one's going to attack... Of course, it may not attack directly at us. It might attack one of the adjacent spaces. But let's go straight at it, because even if it attacks straight at us, we should be able to win the clash without too much difficulty. Okay, those are both going to attack. As we've seen, they can attack 2 spaces ahead, so it's possible that this one will hit us. This one due west of us. So I feel like we should launch a quick jab at it, so that we at least get into a clash. Oh. Apparently that didn't work. We didn't get a clash, even though we both attacked each other. So normally, and the tutorial explains this, if you and an enemy both attack each other, you get a clash, but for some reason, we didn't this time. So the game is either inconsistent or makes exceptions for certain abilities, which is another thing it would have been nice to know. I think the hands are moving away from us, and both of our 2 space abilities are on cooldown, so maybe we try to move this way to stay on top of it. Yeah, that worked out. They're both going to be attacking us, so there's a good chance that we'll take a hit from one or the other. If we back up, we could still take a hit from this one that's right next to us, if it does its range 2 attack. Maybe our best bet is to move to our south and hope that it doesn't attack that space. That might work. Yeah, okay. Now, they're both going to be moving. I think the nearest one is moving to the west, so it'll be going away from us. So we probably can't attack that one. But if our abilities have cooled down, yeah, piercing strike, we can hopefully land a hit on that one that's further away. Okay, good. I would like to have finished one of them off, but that's not on the cards right now. Now, if it does that grabbing attack again, then we're going to take a hit regardless. And if it doesn't, and we move forward, then it might hit us with a normal attack anyway. I feel like the safest thing to do probably is... I don't know, actually. I was going to say maybe the safest thing is to move forward and hope that it does a normal attack diagonally, but I feel like one hand or the other is going to do a grab. But our 2 range attacks are still on cooldown, so we can't throw a hit at that anyway. So probably the best we can do is just refuse to move and hope that it does a normal attack. No, it did grab us. Okay. So, we could quick jab there. I think maybe we just do a normal attack against this one up here. Yep, finished that one off. This one is likely to be attacking us or possibly adjacent to us, so we'll just go straight at it. Good. Okay. Again, took more hits than we probably should have. More hits than we would have if we had known about the fact that the grabbing attack doesn't result in a clash. Which again is a surprise mechanic, which would have been nice to know. You've defeated the Stone Hands. Let's move on. We are getting pretty low on stamina, so hopefully we might find a bench soon. Before I read the text, the first thing I notice here is that this painting on the wall, the leftmost painting there, is part of the illustration of Zagor from the book. So maybe we're getting close to him. Although it seems early in the game for that to happen. You carry on through the passageway and enter into another room of similar size. This room is splendidly decorated with a polished marble floor and rough walls. I would dispute that rough walls constitute splendid decoration, but yeah, marble floor, okay, fine. Ooh, okay, so there's an illustration showing this very room. No Zagor painting there, but paintings of other dudes. There are a number of paintings hanging on the wall, and a dwarven woman is staring at them intensely, giggling madly. Her hair is unkempt and her clothes are ragged. Her eyes are sunken and tired, as though she has not slept for weeks. Yeah, I have been to some art exhibitions which have had that effect on me. I felt as though I hadn't slept for weeks. At her feet are an assortment of strange trinkets. Small bones, teeth, gold pieces, bits of half-eaten food, and splintered pieces of wood. So someone has been to both the gift shop and the cafe, and has not been impressed with what they bought. Some of these objects have been placed underneath various paintings. "Master, master, look at what Thomiel has brought for you today," she murmurs. So she's going a bit Renfield on us. Hopefully she doesn't eat flies. Why would a dwarf be freely allowed to wander around here on her own? I assume that's to do with this place being an evil dungeon ruled by Zagor, and not to do with social commentary on the status of dwarves in Alancia, but you never know. So do we want to have a chat with her? Or do we want to completely ignore everything that's going on here and leave? Or do we want to eyeball the paintings? Well, she doesn't seem like she's being aggressive, although I'm guessing that Master refers to Zagor, so strictly speaking, she's probably an enemy. We could look at the paintings, but I don't know, maybe that would antagonize her if she's obsessed with the paintings. I feel like we should speak with her, try and get a sense of what's going on. You ask the dwarf who she's talking to. That wouldn't have been my opening question. She tries to stifle fits of giggling, then bursts into peals of shrieking laughter. Why, Thomiel is talking to the master, of course! Her eyes dart around the room as she chuckles to herself, then she nods. The master is always here. Here, there, everywhere. Okay. You ask who the master is. Suddenly, the giggling stops. A voice coming out of Thomiel's mouth is no longer her own, but that of a deep baritone of a man. Alexandra of Blacksand, it sneers. The great hero of the Battle of Grey Rock, come to slay the terrifying Warlock of Firetop Mountain. You realise that Thomiel has been possessed and sent utterly mad. I have a vague recollection of Zagor being described as having a deep voice in the book, so my guess is that the Warlock himself is speaking through her right now. This poor dwarf is possessed, most likely by the Warlock. Poor Thomiel collapses to the ground, and you find yourself dragged by some demonic force towards one of the paintings, that of Zagor himself. So we can flee the room in terror, or search for something in our bag to try and fight his power. Well, let's have a look in our bag. We've got lantern, backpack, rope, potion of invisibility, Zagor's key, blue candle, Eye of the Cyclops. I'm guessing Eye of the Cyclops won't do anything because we're meant to be taking it to Zagor. Blue candle, don't know. Blue candle might do something. A lot of the special item use in fighting fantasy isn't particularly logical. You know, it's a crapshoot. You don't know which item will do anything in a particular location. Like, why would a blue candle help you resist a nefarious painting? No particular logical reason, but that may be the thing. Potion of invisibility, maybe, but he knows we're here, so I'm not sure that being invisible will help. So really, I think the only thing we have that might help is the blue candle. And we won't know until we select the rummaging in our bag option. It's not giving us an option of, if you have this item, you can use it. It's saying, do you want to look? With no indication as to whether we have anything suitable or not. But then if it was as simple as just legging it in terror, why would we not just do that? I don't know. I'm not confident that we have whatever item the adventure has in mind for us to have here, so let's just run. I'm not convinced it'll work, but maybe it will. Okay, that worked. Terrified of the Warlock's powerful magic, you run out of the room as fast as you can and slam the door shut behind you. You never want to enter that room again. Well, yeah, it's full of old food and stuff. It probably stinks. A bench! So we can regain some stamina. Just up the passageway there is a small alcove in the rock. It seems a convenient hiding place, and a wooden bench is nestled within the alcove to allow you to rest. As far as I remember, there's only one of these benches in the original book. Obviously, it makes sense to add more of them for this particular interpretation of the adventure. But it always amused me that the adventurer went into this dungeon full of evil entities ruled by a hostile warlock, and there's just a bench against the wall that says, "Hey, traveller, have a nice sit down here." I mean, it's weirdly friendly for the context. Anyway, given that we've lost 11 stamina, I think we need to rest and have some lunch, because that should give us 10 back. So we'll whip out a sandwich, and 10 stamina. So we're almost back to full stamina again now. How many provisions do we have left? We have 3, so actually we're still pretty well stocked with food. Let's head north. Before long, you arrive at another junction branching off to the east and west. Once again, we have absolutely no clue as to which way is the appropriate way to go. I'm going to say west purely because we can see that it leads to a door, so we have fractionally more information than we do about the east passage. The passageway ends at a stairwell. At the top you find yet another wooden door, this time a small one with a carved bone handle. You listen but hear nothing coming from inside. Let's grab that bone handle. What's on the inside of the silent door? You try the handle and the door opens into a room with a sandy floor. You can hear the sound of fast-flowing water. In one corner of the room is a pile of rubble, mainly stones and dust. But there are also 2 odd-shaped pieces of wood and a length of rope. A door in the north wall leads on. So we can look at the wood, we can look at the rope, or we can leave. I'm not sure what we'd hope to learn from a couple of bits of wood and some rope. The wood is described as being odd-shaped, so that sounds like the most interesting item here. Both pieces of wood are Y-shaped and smooth, as if washed up from a river. I guess we'll stuff them in our pocket. I mean, it's possible that they could be trap items, which will come back to bite us later on. That wouldn't surprise me with a fighting fantasy adventure. So we put them in our bag. Maybe they'll come in handy later. Now, if one of these things was harmless, it's possible that the other thing will be dangerous. But on the other hand, a rope might be a useful thing to have, so let's see. Yep, that's what I thought. I suspected this might happen. One of the 2 items was safe, so the other one is dangerous. You pick up the rope. It looks normal. In fact, it looks as if it might be quite useful. You open your pack to put it in. Suddenly, it comes alive in your fingers, snakes quickly up your arm and attempts to wrap itself around your neck. You'll need to act fast to get it off. So we have to make a luck test here, which means we'll lose a point of luck either way. Our luck is only 8, which isn't the worst, but also isn't great. So we actually have an unacceptably high chance of failing this. Let's chuck the dice, because what else can we do? Low, low, low. Oh, come on. All the times we've rolled low in combat and we end up rolling high here. So we're struggling with the rope and it tightens around us. We feel dizzy and lightheaded. You squirm and struggle to reach for your weapon. So this could be another instant death, possibly. I wonder... Let's experiment here. So this could be another instant death, like when Lunica Cardi was eaten by that wight and we had no chance to fight it. And if you remember, I have pointed out in the past that in our bag we actually have the option to voluntarily use a resurrection stone, and I wondered whether that might have saved us from the wight. So, although it's possible that this rope isn't going to insta-kill us, why don't we, in the name of learning some more about how the game works, try voluntarily using one of these stones, because we're still close to the bench, we won't lose much progress doing this. Let's try it. Okay, so we can indeed voluntarily go back to the previous checkpoint. Again, there's no saying for sure whether that rope would have killed us off, but at least now we've learnt something more about how the game works. So, there's the 10 stamina we regained, back up here. So we could take the east passage this time, but we did find those forked sticks in here, which could actually have a use later, so why don't we this time head in here, just grab the Y-shaped sticks, and then leave. No rope antics this time. The passage leads you northwards. The rocky floor becomes sandy until eventually you're walking on coarse sand. You notice the passage is widening, and ahead you can hear a flowing river. This looks to me a little bit like that beach where Lunica washed up after she was thrown in the water. I've heard about this river. Who knows what lives in it? You continue until you find yourself in a large cavern through which a river flows. So I wonder if we're on the opposite bank, and we're going to pitch up by that huge edifice again. You're on the south bank of an underground river facing across its black depths. There appear to be 4 ways of crossing. Oh, this rings a very faint bell from the book. Some kind of ferry. To your left, a rusted bell bears the sign, Ferry Service, 2 gold pieces. Please ring. There is also a small raft in front of you on the bank, with a long stick resting beside it, which you could use to punt across the river. A rickety old bridge also crosses the water to your right. It winds its way into the darkness of the cavern. So I wonder if that bridge is the one that Lunica saw from the other side of this river, what I assume to be this river. Not sure who would use a ferry down here, but maybe that's my best option. I'm not sure I trust that bridge. Neither am I, but I'm also not convinced that we can trust a ferry that's operated by the minions of the Warlock. So we could raft across on our own, but that doesn't seem like a good idea. I mean, if that was a safe way to cross, then I don't know, it seems like a trick. It seems like, oh, this is the easy and free way to cross, so it has to be a bad idea. Let's see if we have 2 gold pieces to pay the ferry. Do we have anything about our money here? Doesn't mention how much money we've got, which is weird. I think we have more than 2, though. I think we have at least 4. So, maybe we do try to take the ferry. The bell gives you a dull clang, and after a few moments out of the darkness you see a withered old man rowing a small boat. He rows slowly across to you, moors the boat, and limps towards you. I wonder if this is the old man who was asleep in the hut when Lunica got here. Who's a werewolf. Could be. Do we want to talk to him? Do we want to grin at him? Or drink our potion of invisibility and steal the boat? So here's somewhere that we could use the potion of invisibility, but I'm not sure it's necessarily the place to use it. And what would we gain by doing that? I mean, I suppose if we're afraid that he might murder us or something. If it is the same guy, then he doesn't like adventurers. But if we use the potion of invisibility here, then obviously it's not available to use later if another situation comes up where we can drink it. So I'm inclined to not be an obnoxious, thieving rapscallion and just have a chat to the ferryman instead. The ferryman asks you for 3 gold pieces. That's a markup on the displayed price. When you protest at the price, he mumbles some flimsy excuse about inflation. He begins to get angry at your protestations. Well, if he is the werewolf, then we don't want to threaten him, so let's just hand over the cash. Okay, he did just ferry us across without incident. He calms down, takes the gold, and rows you across to the north bank. -3 gold. After mooring the boat, he ambles off down the passageway. So this looks like the same place, and I reckon that probably was the guy who lives in the hut there. You are now standing on the north bank in the large underground cavern. The most striking thing is a massive structure to the north. So we've seen all of this before. Huge structure, smaller one to the right, wooden building near a bridge. So we know that the shack to the west has the sleeping old guy in it. Whether he's going to be asleep now, having just punted us across the river, I don't know. But we know that the only thing he has is those keys, which are going to be difficult to get because he has a hellhound. The wooden building has skeletons in it constructing a boat. I'm tempted to go and investigate that. I mean, we have had a bit of a rough go with combat, but we have pretty high skill and we're at almost full stamina, so maybe this is as good an opportunity as any to check out the skeletons in this hut. Let's do it. You never know, there might be something really important in there that we've been missing through our timidity. So, here's the boathouse. We look through the grill on the door and see the skeletons as before. Now we face the question, do we want to bust the door down to face these animatronic skeletons or not? Let's do it. Let's be bold, because basically there's always going to be the same justification to not look in here, and if we continue with that logic, we're never going to find out what's in this boathouse. And with pretty high skill and reasonable stamina, we're in about as good a position as we're ever going to be in to find out what's in here. So let's kick this door in. There's no way you're going to charge the door down, as it's 4 inches of solid oak. You bruise your arm at the attempt. Oh, so we actually can't get in any... A skill loss! That's harsh. Okay, so we actually can't get in here anyway. We probably have to nick the keys from the old man in the hut then. A skill penalty is really harsh. I'm not pleased about that at all. Let's go into this smaller structure because it has the soul keeper person in it. And I don't know how much money we have, but we might have enough to be able to buy something from her. Maybe we can buy something that will restore our lost skill point. Although I'm not optimistic about that. Welcome, Alexander of Blacksand. I'm the Keeper of Souls. Here we go. So we don't need to ask her about the Domain of the Dead or the Warlock's treasure, because Lunica asked about those before. We could see if we can sell her anything. Potion of Invisibility is the only thing we can sell, but we might actually need that in future. What can we buy from her? So, once again, I don't know how much gold we have. Because it doesn't say here. Maybe that means we don't have any left. But then it didn't display how much we had before we got on the ferry either, and we had at least 3. So, that's aggravating, to not know how much gold we have. Is it in the compass? There's no reason it would be, but you never know. No? That seems like an oversight in the UI. I mean, it should tell you how much gold you've got, right? That seems like an oversight. So we could buy some more food, Potion of Fortune, Potion of Skill. So we have at least 25 gold, because we can buy a Potion of Skill. I'm kind of reluctant to... Sorry if you got any noise there, I accidentally kicked my mic stand. I'm reluctant to blow 25 gold on that, but on the other hand, our fairly high skill is our one major advantage with this character, so having lost a skill, I do kind of want it back, so let's take that. And hopefully it allows us to just replenish our skill here. Yes, okay, good. Because it occurred to me after buying it that it might be a thing that we can only use in specific circumstances, which would have been a horrendous waste of money. So, I think we don't have enough money left to buy anything else. We could sell the Potion of Invisibility and then maybe buy some provisions. That could be worth doing. But we still have, what, 3 provisions left? Yeah, so we're actually not too short on it. So I'd rather hold on to the Potion of Invisibility in case we come into another set of circumstances where it's actually going to be a lifesaver. So let's take off, say goodbye to the Soul Keeper, and be on our way. back to the beach, and then we need to head into the big building. Once again, we know from Lunika's misadventures that heading into the tower that's to the west of this entrance results in a horrendous, difficult encounter and doesn't have a checkpoint. So let's go straight in. And this time, of course, we know to be careful of that white that will be coming up at some point. Unless we take a different route, which is possible. Okay, the giant bat fight. So Lunika ran into this as well, and I seem to remember they weren't that difficult. They didn't seem to have any special attacks. I've probably jinxed myself by saying they weren't that difficult, but the way I remember it, they didn't have any special attacks or anything. So hopefully we can finish them off. They do have 6 stamina, which seems like a lot. But, yeah, let's try and bash this bat. It's a clash. Hopefully we'll win, because they have quite low skill. Yeah, we won that. I think this one is moving, so let's attack here. Oh, it moved that way. Interesting. The other 2 bats, as far as I could tell, bumped into each other. And just bounced off each other like people clumsily colliding in the supermarket. I think the bats are all attacking this time, so none of them should be able to hit us, but we can't hit them either, so we'll just try to pass the turn. Yeah. The bats are all moving. Those 2 look like they're moving towards each other, but they could be sidestepping. So let's take a swing at this space up here, and hope that the injured bat is sidestepping down there. Or side-flapping, I suppose. All of them are going to attack again, which means we're probably going to take a hit from one or the other. And there's not a lot we can do about that. So let's just try and finish off this injured bat. Okay, we did take a hit, but so be it. There wasn't a lot we could have done. The bats are probably going to sidestep again. I imagine they're going to move away, but just in case they move towards, let's attack here. No. Okay, they're attacking this time. This one that's due south of us here is in range of our quick jab, so let's throw that out. 3 damage. If we can land another quick jab, then we could finish it off with just 1 more hit, but that's frankly not super likely to happen. Let's move up here. Actually, let's move this way. Try and keep on top of this bat that we've already heard. Ooh, okay, that's an interesting position. This time we probably need to back up so that we're not going to take a guaranteed hit from at least one of them. Yeah. So there was, of course, I should have explained this before I made the move, explained my thinking. There was a possibility that we would take a hit from this one that did hit us, but if we stayed where we were, then it seemed very likely that one or the other of them would hit us, if not both. So backing away seemed like the safest play. So they're both moving this time. They will sidestep, presumably, because they always seem to sidestep, which means the one to the south of us is going to move closer to us, I think. So let's just attack here. Yeah, land a hit there. And then it's probably going to attack straight at us, although maybe it'll go alongside. But we should be able to win a clash without too much difficulty unless we completely flub the roll. So let's just take a swing. Okay, good. That worked out. This one is going to be sidestepping towards us, so we'll attack here. Land a hit. Again, it's going to be attacking, maybe straight at us, maybe not, but let's just go for it. Okay, hopefully we'll win the clash with a decent roll. Very good roll, so yeah, we hit it. It's going to flap away, so let's move forward and stay on top of it. And then, once again, push in with an attack. Of course, it is possible for us to lose the clash, but it's unlikely. Especially with a roll like that. Excellent. So we did take a hit, maybe 2 hits, but it wasn't too bad. There's a bench here, so hopefully we can sit down and regain our lost stamina. So here's the graveyard. We've read all of this description before. I think we have to explore the graveyard in order to access the bench. We're going to have to test our luck, which is unpleasant, but what can you do? So we want to roll 8 or less. So statistically, we are about averagely likely to roll that. Because obviously 6, 7-ish is about halfway through the roll there. So not much better than average chance, but let's see what we can do. Once again, we rolled a 10 on our luck roll. We found nothing of interest. Not even the bench. Can we click on the bench? No. There's a bench right there, but we were just looking around going, nope, nope, I don't see anything. There's nothing here. So we don't get the checkpoint. And we're going to have to fight these ghosts, if memory serves. Souls rise out of this crevasse, and we have to fight the ghosts. I don't remember how bad the ghost fight was, but with there being 4 of them, that makes me uneasy. Looks like they're attacking. I don't remember what their attacks are. Probably don't want to move closer in case they land a hit on us, so let's just attack here to stay where we are. Okay, the ones closest to us, I think, are both attacking, and the others are moving. So once again, we can't really land an attack on them. Yeah. Okay. So a couple of them are attacking. The furthest one away is moving, I think, and this one over to the west is moving as well. So it could be sidestepping into this space here, or it could be moving south. Let's take a gamble on this space. Yeah, successful gamble. They've only got stamina of 4, so 2 hits each should finish them off. Let's see if we can finish this one. It's a clash. Hopefully we'll win, but their skill is pretty good. We did win. But with our skill of 10 and their skill of 9, we actually didn't have fantastic odds there. So I don't like this long, narrow space because it doesn't give us a lot of room to maneuver. The one that's directly north of us is going to move. I'm guessing it's going to move closer to us. Yeah, let's just attack this space here and assume it's coming this way. And it is. Okay, they're all attacking this time, so I think we're likely to take a hit from one or another of them. Yeah. Oh, and it weakened us so we do less damage. Oh, that's frustrating. I didn't notice whether the one in front of us is attacking or not. So in case it's moving away from us, let's throw out a piercing strike. Okay. We did finish it off, but we're taking quite a lot of damage. Or we have taken... Well, have we only taken 1 hit? I think we've taken 2. Let's try and attack this. Okay. I think they're both attacking this time, so again, we're probably going to have to tank a hit. Because we don't have any abilities that will sort of sweep across them, so probably the best we can do is try to land another hit on this one. It's a roll-off again, and I think we won it. We did win it. Okay, luckily... the other one attacked adjacent to us, not directly at us, so we didn't take any damage there. The northernmost one, the one that's hurt, is I think moving away. But it's hard to tell. Yeah, I think it's facing south, so it actually might be sidestepping alongside us here. Let's have a go. Oh, I thought it was moving this time. Huh. Okay, it's kind of hard to judge sometimes, at least while playing and trying to hold a lot of information in your head. It's sometimes hard to judge when they rotate, whether they also wobbled while rotating. Incidentally, sorry if you hear my stomach gurgling, I'm quite hungry at the moment. Okay, let's try and attack this one that's next to us here. No, it moved away. Okay, so the one to our east is moving. The one that's already badly hurt is attacking. We can't reach it from here, so we'll have to just leave that to its own devices. But we may be able to hit this one as it presumably moves back towards us. Yeah. Okay. So if we can land one more solid hit on this one, we can finish it off. Okay. Now the remaining one is going to be moving, and because, like so many enemies in this, it moves by sidestepping, it's probably going to this space. Okay. So we took a couple of hits, so we're once again in not great shape stamina-wise. We could really have done with that bench, but apparently Alexandra, rather, just can't see a bench that's right there. So the ghosts are addressing us by name once again, like last time, and we can continue climbing up here. So, this is where things start to get a bit more hairy, or even more hairy, because when we came here with Lunica, we turned right. We were fooled by some treasure, some illusory treasure, which did us some harm. And then we went upstairs and were eaten by a wight. I think the illusory treasure thing was a luck test. I could be wrong, but I think it was. Which makes me think that with even worse luck than Lunica had, we don't want to go that way. Was that the thing that caused us to lose 4 luck points or something? We don't want that. So why don't we try going... up or left? Let's go left. We have no idea what's going to be in here. There's a tense feeling in the air as you enter this room. Grim-looking armoured skeletons stand guard near a set of stairs leading upwards. Well, it might be more alarming if they were cheerful-looking armoured skeletons. The room itself is littered with bones and skulls. Suddenly, the skeleton guards stationed by the stairs shudder to life. So, another combat. Fights are coming thick and fast at the moment. Here, you can't just clomp around our stairs any way you please. Look at their boots. Disgraceful. Who knows where they've been traipsing? Is that mud? It's mud, isn't it? Attack! So these are fastidious skeleton guards. How many? Okay, 2 could be worse, but they're probably pretty tough. Let's check them out. 6. So 6 skill isn't terrible, but 6 stamina means they'll take 3 normal hits each. And once again, we have no idea what their attack patterns are. I didn't notice who's moving and who isn't, so let's just attack here and see if it's moving that way. No, they're all attacking. Okay, so we have seen that the skeletons have a kind of sweep attack that covers a couple of spaces horizontally, in the same kind of way that Lunica did. I think they're both moving this time. So, I guess they're not going to be sidestepping into the same space, although maybe they are. So... maybe they're both going to be walking towards us. Let's try and get out of range of both of them and try and stay in range of just one by going over here. Okay, I think they're both attacking. The one nearest us definitely is. So I think our best bet is to try and attack it. Okay, it's a clash. Hopefully we'll win the clash because we have pretty good skill. Yeah, we did win the clash. Skeleton is moving away, and these ones seem to walk forwards rather than sidestepping, so I'm going to guess it's heading this way. Oh, interesting. We did hit one of them, but the other one that was supposed to be moving did not. So now we're once again in range of attacks from both of them, and there's not a great deal we can do about it. So I guess we just have to wail on one of them and try to finish it off. Hopefully we'll win the roll again. We've actually been rolling reasonably well in clashes for once. It seems we actually didn't do any damage to that one, which is upsetting. We won the clash, but it didn't do any damage anyway. I saw a message flash up about it guarding, so I guess that's a special ability maybe, because it's a shield wielder. It looks like it's moving away from us, so maybe we try and land a piercing strike as it walks away. Yeah, that worked out. One more hit will do that one in. The one closest to us looks like it's going to be attacking. We have no idea whether the one furthest away from us has an attack that can cover range 2, so I think we'll have to just gamble on it not being able to hit us from here and attack this one, which we know definitely can hit us from where it is. Come on. Ooh. After saying we've been rolling well, we rolled like absolute garbage there, but luckily the skeleton rolled even worse than we did. So it looks like this one that's next to us is moving away. So let's try and finish it off as it moves. Okay, success. This one is going to be taking a swing at us, so let's try and initiate a clash. And hopefully we'll win it. With a bit of rolling. Yes. But once again it guarded. Will you stop doing that? It's moving away from us, so hopefully we can land our quick jab specifically on that space, and thereby finish it off. Ah. Oh, okay. So in a previous fight, in the last episode I think, we used a quick jab on a space where we thought something was moving, and we missed, and then it moved into that space anyway, which is something that's happened just now as well. So it seems like the quick jab actually attacks before they move, which is an interesting thing to know. It's kind of frustrating to me that none of the abilities describe what they do, so trial and error is the only way to figure them out. But I guess that's just part of the way this game is set up. So what can you do? I guess this thing is going to be either swinging at one of the spaces in anticipation of us moving, or it's going to be moving back towards us. So let's just attack here and see what happens. Yeah. This time it's moving, probably into that space, so let's see if we can hit it. And this time it didn't guard, so we managed to finish it off. That was actually not a terrible fight. I think we didn't take any hits, which is good. But we could really do with a bench, and we have no idea how soon we're going to see another bench. We could, of course, eat provisions from our bag, which might be worth doing. That would take us to 11 stamina, but it's such an inefficient way of using them. But it's probably best to do that to be safe, so let's quickly scarf a ham sandwich here. Okay, you strike the skeleton guards with a final blow and they shatter into bony pieces which scatter across the stone floor. Whatever magic was animating these creatures has now been dispelled. Wondering what they were guarding, you proceed up the stone steps. Up we go, and let's see what's overhead. Probably something nasty? We just completely ignore that room and keep going. Ooh, I don't like that mural of skeletons on the wall. It also seems to be shimmering weirdly. Look at that. That doesn't make me feel comfortable in this room at all. You enter a large, sinister chamber that has a large sculpted mural placed on the wall. The skeletal warriors on display writhe and contort, and it feels as if the wall is alive. The air is thick with a sense of dread, and the room is dank and dreary. Candlesticks light the way through. Zagor really likes to lay on the feelings of unease, doesn't he? He certainly does. I assume that's the kind of decor he likes. I mean, personally, my living room has a picture of a scene from Morrowind on the wall, and it's got some posters from the roguelike conference I went to a few years ago. But, you know, to each their own. If Zagor wants writhing murals of skeletal warriors, that's his own business. We will decide if you're worthy of our aid, adventurer. Experience the ordeal of fear. Suddenly, for no apparent reason, you feel afraid. Very afraid. Test your skill. I feel like fear would be a stamina check, you know, rather than skill. You don't resist feelings of fear by being dexterous. But this is what it wants us to test, so test our skill we will. Let's roll. So we want lower than our skill. Ooh, we got equal, which should be a pass. You bravely face the unnatural fear. Despite being more afraid than you have ever felt before, you concentrate. In your mind's eye, you see a shining light and focus on it. Suddenly, the fear vanishes, and there is an echoing shriek. You hear a ghostly voice. Okay, so we just pictured a light, and then we weren't scared anymore. Well done, adventurer. But there are more terrifying things ahead. Here is your reward. So this was another trial, kind of like the illusory treasure that Lunica found. You feel a renewing vigour within yourself. Skill restored. Well, our skill had been restored anyway. More confident than before, you head for the spiral staircase. So our reward was something completely useless to us. Thanks. You've entered a large circular chamber. The most striking feature here is a large stone bowl. It is filled with a dark, rich red liquid, which is bubbling vigorously. Aside from this mysterious-looking pool, there is also a spiral staircase set behind the pool, another entrance opposite you, and a hole in the floor. Well, I'm guessing the hole in the floor is the stairs that came up from below. I mean, maybe not, but that's my guess. Maybe there's a room in between here and there. But I don't see any point in going back down. We may not have the option anyway. What will you do now? So if we had a chalice, we could fill it up from the pool. But we don't. And I don't feel comfortable just cupping our hands into this bubbling liquid, so I feel like leaving the room is probably the best thing to do. Because if we have the option to drink using a chalice, then we probably don't want to drink not using the chalice. I think the right-hand doorway probably takes us back towards the white that ate Lunica, so my feeling is go upstairs. I mean, that's roughly the direction we've been heading in anyway, ascending through the building. What's up here? This is further than we got with Lunica, so this is now our best adventure in terms of how far we've got into the dungeon. You climb the stairs and find yourself in a dark crypt of some kind. At one end is an altar, and various coffins are strewn about the room. An altar and coffins doesn't bode well. Oh wow, they really are strewn. Look at how haphazard that is. Whoever put these here has no respect for the people inside. There is an opening in the wall through to another room on your left, so we can snoop around this room or leave. I have played enough fighting fantasy books and enough old computer adventure games and things to know that investigating coffins is often a bad plan. I'm thinking of things like Shadowgate here, which I played on the NES, where I think you did have to open a coffin in order to find an item, but also monstrous stuff spilled out. I just feel like this is likely to be vampires or skeletons or something, and maybe I would find something useful in here, but it just seems like such a gamble. So let's get out of here. If we were at full health, I may have chanced it, but we're at half health, or not much better than half health, so I don't feel like being bold is necessarily a good play. So here, we've got a spiral staircase going upwards or downwards, and we can go in either direction, but again, I feel like our general trend in this building is upwards, so let's go that way. As you climb the last steps, you're dwarfed by a dark shrine to the First Lord of Chaos, Death himself. The grim, imposing statue is holding a large bowl that represents the entire universe held in his grasp. It looks as though he is demanding a sacrifice. Okay, couple of notes here. One, the statue of Death actually kind of just looks like an orc or a troll or a big scaly dude of some sort, rather than a Grim Reaper type of thing. That's okay, but just a note. The other thing is the bowl represents the universe. I don't see how we're meant to assume that. I feel like that's your interpretation, Alexandra. You're reading too much into it. Sometimes a bowl is just a bowl. The Dark Lords are grim creatures. I wonder what goes in the bowl. So we could pour blood in if we had some blood, which is kind of a creepy implication that we may have scooped up some blood. Maybe that's what was in the bubbling bowl further down. Maybe it was a bowl of hot blood, and if we had the chalice, we could scoop up a cupful of blood and then pour it out up here. Well, we don't have it regardless, so we can't make an offering, which probably means bad stuff is going to happen, but we don't have a choice. Which way will you go now? Up the steps or straight on? Again, our general trajectory has been up, so up we go. That looks interesting, that sort of crystal sphere, which is now blocked by the text. The narrow staircase is cut into the rock, and there are about 20 steps leading up. At the top of the steps, a passageway leads you into a large, open chamber. This chamber stinks of putrefying flesh. Ugh. The smell is so bad that you're tempted to turn back. Yeah, not surprised. 3 bodies lie in the chamber. You may either search the bodies or tiptoe quietly through the room. The fact that it's offering us the option to tiptoe through makes me think these are going to come to life. I think I'd best be on my way. I've spent more time in this place than I want to. So we could search any of them individually or tiptoe through the room. So, yeah, the option to tiptoe through makes me think that one or more of these will come to life. But, at the same time, the fact that we're being given the option to search specific bodies individually makes me think one of them may have something valuable or useful or maybe even essential. I just noticed that to the right of the text up there, there's a bench just ahead. So if we can get to that, we can heal up and get a checkpoint. Although my caution tells me to just try and leave the room, I mean, that's no guaranteed thing anyway. We'll probably have to make a luck roll or a skill roll or something. And I do wonder if there's something important on one of these. So I feel like we should try and search one. Maybe it's too risky, maybe this is unwise, but I'm just suspicious of it offering us each individual body to search. I feel like there has to be something here. I don't want to search the first one, because I feel like the first in the list is going to be a trap. So let's search the second one. As you move over towards the second body, you accidentally kick the third corpse on the floor. Wow, you're very clumsy for someone with a skill of 10, Alexandra. Its eyes flick open and it quickly gets up and slashes at you with its long, sharp fingernails. Is it guaranteed damage or a fight? The creature now standing before you is a semi-decayed creature. Its quick eyes dart from side to side, watching you. Ugh. I remember that illustration from Out of the Pit, which is the fighting fantasy sort of bestiary book, which I had growing up. So I think this is a ghoul, if memory serves. Its long tongue flashes out with a hissing noise. Its teeth and nails are sharp, and it doesn't seem to be afraid of your weapon. Another one of the corpses rises to join it. They are ghouls. The fact that it's not afraid of my weapon makes me wonder if it's the same as the white, and only vulnerable to silver weapons. If that's so, then we're screwed, because we don't have a silver weapon. And this will be a death here. But, on the other hand, the text didn't give us the option to fight the white, and it is giving us a fight here. So maybe we can actually hurt them, but at half damage or something like that. If I remember from Out of the Pit, which as I say was a bestiary of fighting fantasy monsters, then I think ghouls can infect you or poison you or something, so we want to try extra hard to avoid being hit by these, I think. I feel like our best option to try and avoid damage is to back up and get alongside this southern one, because it's probably not going to attack directly next to itself. Ooh, okay. So these have a grabbing attack, just like the stone hands did. That is not great. I think this one's attacking us again, so let's swing at it. Hopefully we'll win the clash. We do have higher skill, but we rolled absolute garbage, so we lost it. And I think we took 4 damage there, which is extremely unpleasant. So yeah, unless we get very lucky, I think this is going to kill us. I think the ghoul is probably walking away. It could be sidestepping, but I think it's probably walking straight, directly north. So let's try a piercing strike. Okay, we did land a hit. We're not doing half damage, but it's doing double damage, which is extremely unpleasant. Once again, I think there's nowhere safe for us to go here. If we stay where we are, one or the other of them will almost certainly hit us, and if we sidestep, then the southern one could still hit us anyway, but it's probably the lesser of two evils. Or the lesser of two risks, I suppose. Okay, this one that's closest to us is attacking again. It's probably coming straight at us. Let's see if we can win the clash. Okay, it didn't clash. So we have landed a couple of hits, but we have to avoid getting hit again, because it's possible that one hit will finish us off. So I think they're both moving, so let's attack directly ahead and see if we can land a second hit on this one that's closest to us. Okay, we did, but it has 3 stamina left, which means it's 2 more hits, unless we manage to hit it with Piercing Strike, which we can't because it's on cooldown. And if we don't move, then one or the other of them is likely to hit us, and if we do, there's a good chance that this one next to us will hit us anyway. But again, that's probably the less risky of the two options. Okay, that did keep us safe. So this one is going to attack, probably straight at us. We can't piercing strike it from here, so we can't finish it off this turn even if we land the hit, but maybe trying to land a hit on it is the best play anyway. Okay. Now it's moving. It looks like it's moving away from us, so let's press in, keep right on top of it. Okay, it's going to be attacking again, probably straight at us, so let's attack it. Okay, so we did finish off that ghoul, so that's something. So hopefully we can manage the remaining one with a little dash of luck. It's attacking again this turn, so we will just stay where we are, I think, by attacking there. This time it's moving. These seem to move forwards, so it's probably coming here. Yeah. And it has 3 stamina left. So again, that's 2 hits, unless we can hit it with a piercing strike. I didn't notice whether it wobbled. Damn it. So I don't know whether we should attack straight at it or anticipate it moving. I'm guessing it's going to move because of the way it's facing. No, but that's a gamble. That's a gamble, because if we count on it moving and then it attacks us, it could do 4 damage again. The 4 damage may have just been because it grabbed us first, but I don't think we can assume that. So probably the safest play is to attack where it is, just in case it's attacking us. Okay, yeah. So we wouldn't have taken a hit, but we would have missed. And let's try to finish it off. Success! Okay. So that did go badly, but at least we got through it. And hopefully we can get to that bench that's in the next room. The ghoul twitches and dies at your feet. You search its body and find little of interest. A couple of earrings are in one of its pockets. Okay, we got 2 luck, so we did regain any luck we'd spent, and we might as well pocket the earrings. You take the dull metal earrings and try to rub off some of the grime. Then you put them in your pack. No idea what they might be useful for. They could be a red herring. They could be useful for nothing at all. One of the features of fighting fantasy adventure design is that items you find aren't necessarily going to be useful for anything. It's not the kind of game... I mean, I don't know if this has been changed for this version, this interpretation of the book, but traditionally in fighting fantasy adventures, it's not the kind of thing where finding an item definitely means that it has a use. It may be completely useless. Search the second body again. Go on then. Don't want to be thwarted. You search the pockets of the other body and find some gold pieces and a bottle of liquid. You quickly pocket the gold pieces. Okay, so we've found £8. That's something. Do we want to try swigging some of the liquid? I mean, it could be acid, it could be poison, it could be a healing potion. It's a bit of a gamble if it does us harm, because we're so low on stamina, but let's try. The liquid is smooth and watery, and as you drink it you begin to glow. You feel euphoric and a little drunk at the same time. Your confidence grows and your weariness disappears. The bottle contains holy water blessed by the overpriest of Cainlesh Mar, which I think is one of the deities of the fighting fantasy setting. It has restored your stamina to full strength. Excellent! In addition to this, your skill is restored. Well, that's fine, we had that anyway. And 4 luck, had we lost any more. Well, the big gain there, of course, is stamina, because we were almost dead. And now we're back at full health. You leave the chamber, walk down a short passage, and reach a staircase going up. At the top of the stairs, the passage turns sharply to the east. As you pause to get your bearings, you hear a creaking in the rock behind you. You spin round in time to see a heavy portcullis drop and seal off the passageway behind you. So we'll continue, only one option. And we've found a bench. Now, we actually don't need to rest on the bench this time, because we just regained all of our stamina, but we might as well sit there to activate the checkpoint. So we'll sit down on the bench and rest. Our tiredness wanes. It's good to take a break. 5 stamina back. Unnecessary, but still. And at this point, I think it's time to call it a day for now. We've actually made quite a lot of progress, and although it's been rough going and there have been some hairy moments, in today's episode. We're actually in pretty good shape right now. We still have 2 provisions left, which is half of our initial stock of provisions, so it's not fantastic, but it's not bad. And we have full stamina, full skill, and full luck, so we're actually not in a bad position at all. Items-wise, we still have our Potion of Invisibility, and we still have 2 of our Resurrection Stones, so we can survive a couple more deaths. And we've got some mysterious sticks, some earrings, blue candle, none of which we really understand the uses of, but we have them all. We found the Eye of the Cyclops, which was part of our objective. We're meant to be delivering it to Zagor, although he hasn't exactly given us a friendly welcome so far. And yeah, we're pretty well stocked with stuff, I think. Don't know how much money we've got, because the game doesn't tell you, but we did just find some treasure, so... Oh, good grief. Okay, some of you have probably been frantically typing in the comments, "It's right there! The gold is right there next to your equipment." I see it now. I see it, it's right there. I've said this before, but it's astonishing how much of your brain power commentating takes up. So it's really easy to miss really obvious things when you're narrating while you're playing. Just take my word for that. Okay, so we know that we've got 14 gold. So missing that earlier was on me, not on the game. But yeah, we've got 14 gold. Might be enough to buy something useful. That should be enough to buy provisions if we find a shop again, hopefully. And yeah, an assortment of kit. And our stats are all at full, so we're actually in non-terrible shape. But we will leave it there for today, and we will return another day to see if we can continue making progress in Alexandra's search for the Warlock in order to hand over this eye. Something tells me that we're probably going to have to fight him or have some other kind of confrontation with him, even though we're bringing him his Amazon order. So, thanks for watching, as always, and rejoin me the next time for the next stage of Alexandra of Blacksand's adventure into the dungeon. We didn't meet anyone who recognised us today, but maybe next time. Fingers crossed. So, until next time, thanks for watching once again, and bye for now.